Elder Thalarin Dawnbreaker stood in his private study, looking at the data screens that covered the walls. His long silver hair fell past his shoulders, and his ancient eyes showed worry. For 300 years, he had watched civilizations rise and fall across the galaxy, but never had he seen anything like the humans. The elf touched a control panel with his thin fingers. Images of human settlements appeared on the screens. Ships moving between stars. Cities growing on new worlds. Humans working, building, expanding, always expanding. They are different, he whispered to himself. Very different. Thalarin had spent the last 50 years studying these newcomers. The humans had only discovered space travel 200 years ago. That was nothing compared to the thousands of years the elves had been traveling between stars. The Zephyrian Empire was even older, with technology that could reshape matter itself. Yet something about the humans worried him deeply. He pressed another button. The screens showed human military exercises. Their ships were simple, crude even. Their weapons were basic projectile guns and missiles. Nothing like the energy beams of the Zephyrians or the magic-enhanced weapons of his own people. But then, he watched how they fought. The humans never gave up. When their ships took damage, they kept fighting. When they were outnumbered, they found new ways to attack. When their weapons failed, they used anything they could find as a weapon. Most troubling of all, Thalarin said, pulling up another file. This one showed human history, wars, disasters, plagues, times when their entire species almost died out. But they always survived. They always came back stronger. The door to his study opened. A younger elf entered and bowed. Elder Thalarin, the council has agreed to meet with you. They will listen to your concerns about the humans. Thalarin nodded. Good. When? 3 days from now, on Harmony Point Station. Both the Elven Confederation and the Zephyrian Empire will send representatives. Who will represent the Zephyrians? High Empress Zirathel herself. Thalarin raised an eyebrow. Zirathel was the supreme leader of the Zephyrian Empire. She was known to be proud and believed deeply in Zephyrian superiority. If she was coming personally, it meant the Zephyrians were also concerned about human expansion. And for our people? Diplomat. Elindra Moonwhisper. Thalarin knew Elindra well. She was skilled in negotiation, but sometimes too trusting. She believed that wisdom came with age, and since humans lived such short lives, she thought they could not be truly dangerous. 3 days later, Thalarin arrived at Harmony Point. The Aus station floated in neutral space between the three civilizations. It was built for meetings like this, with quarters designed for different species. The meeting room was large and round. Soft light came from crystals in the ceiling. Elindra sat. At one side of the table, her green robes flowing around her chair. Her blonde hair was braided with silver threads, and her blue eyes held the calm wisdom of someone who had lived for centuries. Across from her sat High Empress Zirathel. The Zephyrian leader was tall and elegant, with pale purple skin that seemed to glow slightly. Her black hair was pulled back severely, and her large dark eyes missed nothing. She wore a simple but expensive outfit that showed her status without being flashy. Thalarin took his place between them. He looked at both leaders and began to speak. Thank you both for coming. I know you are busy with your own concerns, but I believe we face a threat that could change everything in our galaxy. Zirathel leaned forward slightly. You speak of the humans. Yes. I have studied them for 50 years. They are not what they appear to be. Elindra smiled gently. Elder Thalarin, surely you worry too much. The humans are young. They live such short lives. How much wisdom can they gain in 60 or 70 years? We have lived for centuries. Our knowledge far exceeds theirs. That is exactly what makes them dangerous, Thalarin replied. They do not rely on wisdom gained over long years. They adapt. They change. They learn faster than any species I have ever seen. He activated a holographic display in the center of the table. Images of human colonies appeared, spinning slowly. Look at their expansion rate. In just 200 years, they have spread to over 300 worlds. We took 1,000 years to reach that many planets. The Zephyrians took even longer. Zirathel studied the display with her dark eyes. Numbers mean nothing without quality. Their technology is primitive. Their ships are slow and clumsy. Their weapons are simple projectiles. We could disable their entire fleet with a single squadron. Could you? Thalarin changed the display. Now it showed human military exercises from the past decade. Watch how they fight. The hologram showed human ships in a training battle. They were indeed crude compared to alien vessels. But as the exercise continued, the humans began to change their tactics. When energy shields blocked their weapons, they found ways around the shields. When their engines were damaged, they used the damage to confuse their enemies. When they were outnumbered, they split up and attacked from all directions at once. They never fight the same way twice, Thalorin explained. Every battle teaches them something new. Every defeat makes them stronger. Elindra watched the display with growing interest. Clever, perhaps, but cleverness is not wisdom. They make these adaptations out of desperation, not understanding. And yet they work, Thalorin said. He changed the display again. Now it showed human scientific research. Look at their technology development. They went from wooden ships to space travel in just 500 years. We took 5,000 years to make the same journey. Crude advancement, Zirathel said dismissively. They skip steps. They do not understand the deeper principles. Their technology works, but it is not elegant. It is not perfect. No, Thalarin agreed. It is not perfect, but it is effective. And more importantly, they never stop improving it. The display changed once more. This time it showed human research facilities where scientists worked day and night to solve problems. Unlike elven researchers who meditated for years on each question, or Zephyrian scientists who followed ancient formulas, the humans tried dozens of different approaches at the same time. They throw everything at a problem until something works. Thalarin continued. It seems wasteful to us, but it means they solve problems faster than anyone else. Elindra frowned slightly. Still, Elder Thalarin, what do you suggest? They are one species among many. Surely they can be guided. Perhaps if we shared our wisdom with them. They would not listen, Zirathel said firmly. I have read the reports from our border worlds. When humans encounter our technology, they do not ask to learn from us. They try to understand it themselves. They take it apart and rebuild it their own way. Exactly my point, Thalarin said. They do not accept that others know better. They want to find their own answers. Then they are arrogant, Elindra said. Surely they can be made to understand their place. Thalarin pulled up the final display. This one showed human history. Wars that lasted for years, cities destroyed and rebuilt, entire populations facing starvation or disease, yet somehow surviving. This is what truly worries me, he said quietly. In all their history, whenever humans face extinction, they do not give up. They do not accept defeat. They find a way to win. The room fell silent. Both alien leaders studied the images of human determination. What do you propose? Zirathel asked finally. We must not underestimate them. If we are to deal with humanity, we must treat them as equals, not as children to be guided or primitives to be conquered. Elindra looked shocked. Equals? But Elder Thalarin, they are so young, so inexperienced. Age is not the same as capability, Thalarin replied. A 50-year-old human has lived through more changes and challenges than most of us face in centuries. They adapt because they must. They innovate because they have no choice. Zirathel stood up slowly. I have heard your concerns, Elder Thalorin, but I believe you overestimate them. The Zephyrian Empire has technology beyond their comprehension. Our ships could destroy their colonies before they knew we were there. And what happens after that? Thalorin asked. Do you think the survivors would simply give up? Or would they spend every moment of their remaining lives finding ways to strike back at you? Let them try, Zirathel said coldly. What could they possibly do to us? Elindra also stood. I must agree with Empress Zirathel, though for different reasons. The humans can be reasoned with, they can be taught. We need only show them that cooperation serves them better than conflict. Thalarin watched both leaders prepare to leave. His ancient heart felt heavy. He had tried to warn them, but they would not listen. They saw only what they expected to see. The elves saw wisdom as the highest virtue and could not imagine that. Quick adaptation might be better. The Zephyrians saw technology as the measure of worth and could not believe that crude but effective tools might defeat elegant perfection. "What will you do about the human expansion?" he asked. "We will send them a message," Zirathel said. "A simple demand. They will halt their expansion and submit to our guidance. When they understand our power, they will comply. And if they refuse, then we will demonstrate that refusal has consequences," the Empress replied. As both leaders left the meeting room, Thaloran remained alone with his thoughts. He looked out through the station's windows at the stars beyond. Somewhere, out there, humans were building new colonies, creating Ni. Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of the exploration ship Endeavour, watching the stars through the main viewing screen. She was 45 years old, with short brown hair and steady gray eyes. 20 years of space exploration had taught her to stay calm when facing the unknown. "Captain," said Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez from her communication station, "we're receiving a transmission. It's coming from outside human space." Lisa turned toward her communications officer. Maya was young, only 26, but she had a gift for languages and alien communication systems. Her black hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her dark eyes showed excitement mixed with worry. "What kind of transmission?" Lisa asked. "It's addressed to all human colonies and ships. The signal is incredibly strong. Whoever sent this has very advanced technology." Dr. Amy Carter looked up from her science station. Amy was 38, with red hair and green eyes that missed nothing. As the ship's xenobiologist, she specialized in studying alien life forms, but she had also become their expert on first contact procedures. "Have we made contact with a new species?" Amy asked. "Two species," Maya replied, her fingers working quickly over her controls. "The message identifies them as the Elven Confederation and the Zephyrian Empire. They say they represent the established powers of this region of space." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. Two alien civilizations working together could only mean one thing. They saw humanity as a threat. "Put the message on the main screen," she ordered. The viewing screen changed to show two figures sitting at what appeared to be a formal meeting table. One was clearly not human, with pale purple skin, large dark eyes, and an elegant bearing. The other had pointed ears and an otherworldly beauty that suggested great age and wisdom. The purple-skinned alien spoke first. Her voice was clear and commanding. "I am High Empress Zirathel of the Zephyrian Empire. This message is directed to all humans in this sector of space." The elf spoke next, her voice gentler but no less authoritative. "I am Elindra Moonwhisper, speaking for the Elven Confederation. We bring you greetings from the established civilizations of this galaxy." Lisa exchanged glances with her crew. This sounded like a formal diplomatic contact, but something about their tone suggested it was more than that. Zirathel continued. "Your species has expanded rapidly into space that has been peaceful for thousands of years. Your colonies have been established without permission from the governing powers of this region. We understand that your people are young and may not realize the proper procedures," Elindra added. "Therefore, we offer you guidance and correction." The screen showed a star map of human space, with their colonies marked in red. Alien territory was marked in blue and green, surrounding human space on all sides. "You will immediately halt all expansion beyond your current borders," Zirathel declared. "All new colonies established in the past 50 years will be abandoned. Your people will relocate to designated areas under our supervision." Lisa's hands clenched into fists. They were demanding that humanity give up half their colonies. Elindra's voice remained gentle, but her words were just as firm. "You will also provide us with detailed information about your technology, your military capabilities, and your population centers. This information is necessary for us to provide proper guidance." "Finally," Zirathel said, "you will accept permanent monitoring, stations in all your remaining colonies. These stations will ensure that you develop in a manner that does not threaten the stability of the region." The message continued with technical details about surrender procedures and timelines. Lisa barely heard them. The aliens were demanding complete submission. They wanted humanity to become a client species, dependent on alien supervision. When the message ended, the bridge was silent for a long moment. "Captain," Amy said quietly, They're not asking for negotiation. This is an ultimatum, I noticed, Lisa replied grimly. Maya, how long do we have to respond? According to the message, 72 hours. If we don't comply, they will take action to ensure our compliance. Lisa walked to the center of the bridge, thinking hard. The Endeavor was an exploration ship, not a warship. Her crew of 200 were scientists, engineers, and explorers, but they were also human. Amy, what do you know about these species? Have we encountered them before? Amy shook her head. No direct contact, but our long-range sensors have detected ships with similar energy signatures near the border systems. They've been watching us. For how long? Based on the sensor logs, probably for decades, maybe longer. Maya looked up from her station. Captain, I'm detecting similar transmissions being sent to all human colonies. Earth, New Terra, the mining worlds, the research stations. Everyone is getting the same message. What about our military? Lisa asked. The message was sent to them too. I'm picking up increased chatter on military frequencies. It sounds like they're going to emergency status. Lisa nodded. That was good. Commander Kate Sullivan commanded the defense fleet protecting the core human worlds. If anyone could figure out how to deal with this threat, it was Kate. Amy, I want you to analyze everything we can about these aliens. Study their technology, their language patterns, their social structure, anything that might help us understand what we're dealing with. Already on it, Captain. The Zephyrians seem highly advanced technologically. Their transmission technology is far beyond ours. The elves are harder to read, but their language suggests a very old civilization with complex social hierarchies. Maya, start monitoring all alien communications in this area. I want to know if they're moving ships or preparing for action. Yes, Captain. Should I try to establish communication with them? Lisa considered this. Not yet. Let's see what Earth decides first, but be ready. Over the next 24 hours, reports came in from across human space. Every colony had received the same ultimatum. Some of the outer settlements were panicking, others were defiant, but all were looking to Earth for guidance. Lisa received a priority message from Commander Kate Sullivan. Kate was 42, a career military officer with sharp blue eyes and blonde hair she kept in a regulation cut. She had fought in the border. Conflicts with raiders and hostile alien species. If anyone understood military threats, it was her. Lisa, Kate's image said from the communication screen. I assume you've seen the alien demands. Hard to miss them, Kate. What's the military? Response? We're mobilizing everything we have. But honestly, Lisa, we don't know what we're facing. These aliens have technology we can't match. The Zephyrian energy signatures alone suggest weapons that could destroy our ships from distances we can't even reach. What about negotiations? Kate's expression was grim. We tried. We sent diplomatic messages offering to discuss their concerns. They haven't responded. It's as if they don't consider us worth talking to. So what do? We prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I'm ordering all exploration ships back to defended space. That includes the Endeavor. Lisa nodded. Understood, but Kate, I want to try something first. What? I want to send a message directly to their diplomatic representatives. Not a government response, but a personal communication. Maybe we can establish some kind of dialogue. Kate looked skeptical. Lisa, I don't think they're interested in dialogue. This ultimatum wasn't an opening for negotiation. It was a demand for surrender. Maybe. But we have to try. If we can't fight them and we can't run from them, then we need to find another way. After the communication ended, Lisa called Amy and Maya to her ready room. The small office behind the bridge was cramped but private. I want to send a personal message to the alien leaders, Lisa told them. Something that might make them see us as people, not just a problem to be solved. Amy frowned. Captain, their ultimatum was very clear. They see us as primitives who need to be controlled. I'm not sure a personal appeal will change that. Maybe not. But Maya, you said you've been studying their communication patterns. What did you find? Maya pulled up her notes on a tablet. The Zephyrians communicate very formally. Everything is about hierarchy and proper procedures. They seem to value efficiency and order above all else. And the elves? They speak in metaphors and references to tradition. They seem to value wisdom and age. The way they talk suggests they see younger species as children who need guidance. Lisa thought about this. So the Zephyrians see us as disorganized primitives, and the elves see us as children. Neither sees us as equals. That seems to be the case, Amy agreed. Then we need to show them what they're missing. Maya, I want you to prepare a message, not to their governments, but to them personally. Include information about human achievements, our art, our science, our exploration history. Show them that we're not primitives or children. Captain, Amy said carefully, what if they see that as proof that we're dangerous? If they already think we're expanding too fast, showing them our capabilities might make things worse. It might. But Amy, they've already decided we're a threat. The question is whether they see us as a threat to be destroyed or a threat to be negotiated with. Maya worked for hours crafting the message. She included recordings of human music, images of human art, documentation of scientific discoveries, and personal stories from colonists about why they had left Earth to explore the stars. The 72 hours passed without any response from humanity. High Empress Zirathel stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Eternal Glory, watching the tactical display. Around her, the combined fleet of Zephyrian and Elven ships waited, in perfect formation. "Status report," she commanded. Commander Velnara, her chief military officer, stepped forward. Velnara was tall and elegant like all Zephyrians, with the pale purple skin that marked her as a member of the warrior caste. Her silver hair was bound in the traditional military style, and her dark eyes showed no emotion. "All ships are in position, Empress. We have 150 vessels ready for the assault. The humans have not responded to our ultimatum." "Expected," Zirathel said coldly. "They are too primitive to understand their situation. We will demonstrate it to them." On the other side of the bridge, Aelindra Moonwhisper stood with her own officers. The elven diplomat looked troubled, her blue eyes showing concern. "Empress Zirathel," Aelindra said softly, "perhaps we should try once more to contact them. They may simply need more time to understand our message." "Time?" Zirathel turned to face the elf. "We gave them 3 days. That is more than generous for such a simple decision. They have chosen defiance. Now they will learn the consequences." Sylviana Starweaver, a young elven warrior, stood beside Aelindra. Unlike the diplomat's robes, Sylviana wore practical armor that could protect her in both magical and technological combat. Her silver hair was shorter than most elves preferred, and her green eyes held a sharpness that came from years of battle experience. "The human colonies we have chosen as targets are lightly defended," Sylviana reported. "Our scouts detected minimal military presence. The assault should be over quickly." "Good," Zirathel said. "We will strike 3 outer colonies simultaneously. When the humans see their settlements burning, they will understand that resistance is futile." The target colonies were Haven, New Hope, and Frontier. All 3 were small settlements with fewer than 50,000 people each. They were far from the main human territories, making them perfect examples of human illegal expansion. "Begin the attack," Zirathel ordered. The combined fleet moved forward. Zephyrian ships gleamed like silver needles in the starlight, their hulls perfectly smooth and efficient. Elven vessels looked more organic, their curved lines decorated with symbols that glowed with contained magic. Together they represented thousands of years of advancement and power. As they approached the first target system, Velnara frowned at her readings. "Empress, I'm detecting ships near Haven Colony, more than our scouts reported." "How many more?" "Significantly more. It appears the humans have reinforced their positions." Zirathel studied the tactical display. Where their intelligence had suggested a handful of civilian ships, she now saw what looked like a small fleet. The ships were crude by Zephyrian standards, but there were dozens of them. "It does not matter," she said finally. "Numbers mean nothing without quality. Begin the assault." The first wave of Zephyrian ships opened fire with concentrated energy beams. The weapons were designed to disable rather than destroy, since the goal was to force surrender, not commit genocide. The beams lanced out toward the human ships with perfect accuracy. Then something unexpected happened. The human ships scattered in all directions, moving in patterns that made no tactical sense. Some ships flew directly toward the alien fleet. Others curved away at sharp angles. A few seemed to stop moving entirely. "What are they doing?" Velnara asked, confusion clear in her voice. The energy beams that should have disabled the human ships mostly missed their targets. A few hits connected, but the humans seemed to have modified their ships' hulls with some kind of reflective plating that scattered the energy. Primitive but effective, Zyrathel admitted grudgingly. Adjust targeting, compensate for their evasive maneuvers. But before the second volley could fire, the human ships that had been flying toward the alien fleet suddenly changed course. They had been using their apparent attack runs to get close enough for their own weapons to be effective. Kinetic projectiles slammed into Zephyrian shields. The shields held as expected, but the humans had done something clever. Their projectiles were not solid metal. They were containers filled with small metal fragments that spread out when they hit the shields, creating electromagnetic interference. "Shields are fluctuating," Velnara reported. "The interference is disrupting our power." Grid! More human ships appeared from behind the colony's moon. These were clearly military vessels, though still primitive compared to alien technology. They began firing missiles that split apart as they approached, turning each missile into dozens of smaller projectiles. Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of the Endeavor, which had been hastily refitted with weapons and armor. Around her, the human defense fleet fought with everything they had. "Maya, status on the alien fleet?" Lisa called out. "Their shields are holding, but we're causing disruption," Maya replied from her station. "Commander Sullivan's modifications to our projectiles are working." Dr. Amy Carter looked up from her science station, where she was analyzing alien technology in real time. "Captain, their energy weapons are incredibly powerful, but they seem designed for precision strikes against single targets. Our scatter tactics are confusing their targeting systems." "Good. Keep it up." On the alien flagship, Sylviana Starweaver watched the battle with growing amazement. The human ships were individually inferior to anything in the alien fleet, but they fought with a coordination and creativity that she had never seen before. "They are using their moon as cover," she reported to Elindra. "And they have converted civilian mining ships into weapons platforms." "Impossible," Elindra said. "Mining ships cannot threaten military vessels." "Watch," Sylviana said, pointing to the tactical display. A group of human mining ships emerged from the far side of the moon. They were slow and clumsy, but they carried the massive drilling equipment used to extract resources from asteroids. The humans had somehow weaponized these tools. High-powered mining lasers designed to cut through solid rock began targeting Zephyrian ships. The lasers were not as powerful as military-grade energy weapons, but they were concentrated and persistent. More importantly, they operated on different frequencies than the shields were designed to stop. "Damage report," Zyrathel demanded. 3 ships with minor hull breaches," Velnara replied. "The mining lasers are getting through our shields in some areas. How is that possible?" "Their technology is primitive, but it uses different principles than our shields were designed to counter. Our defenses are optimized for energy weapons and projectiles, not industrial equipment." Meanwhile, the human ships continued their chaotic attack patterns. They seemed to fight without any central coordination, each ship acting independently. But somehow, their individual actions combined into an effective strategy. Commander Kate Sullivan coordinated the defense from her flagship, the Defiance. She watched the alien formations with a tactical eye trained by years of military experience. "They fight like a parade," she said to her officers. "Perfect formations, perfect timing, perfect coordination, which means they can't adapt quickly." "Orders, Commander?" "Signal all ships. Begin Phase 2. Phase 2 was something Kate had developed during the 3-day preparation period. Instead of fighting the aliens with human technology, they would fight them with human tactics. The scattered human ships suddenly began working together in small groups. 3 or 4 ships would coordinate to attack a single alien vessel, hitting it from multiple directions at once. When the aliens focused their fire on one group, another group would attack from a different angle. "They are using pack tactics," Sylviana observed. "Like hunting animals." "Crude but effective," Elindra admitted. "But they cannot maintain this for long. Our ships are stronger individually." That was true. The alien ships could take more damage and had more powerful weapons. But the humans had something the aliens did not expect. They were willing to take risks that no sane military commander would consider. A human ship, badly damaged and losing power, suddenly accelerated directly toward an elven vessel. The elves, assuming it was trying to ram them, concentrated their fire to destroy it before impact. The human ship exploded spectacularly. But the explosion was not random. The humans had packed their ship with mining explosives and metal fragments. When it detonated near the elven ship, the blast created a cloud of debris that interfered with sensors and communication. In the confusion, 3 more human ships attacked the blinded elven vessel from different directions. Their combined firepower overwhelmed its shields and caused significant damage. "They sacrificed an entire ship just to blind one of ours," Sylviana said in disbelief. "Wasteful," Elindra replied, but her voice showed uncertainty. The battle continued for 2 more hours. The humans lost more ships, but they kept fighting. Every time the aliens thought they had figured out human tactics, the humans would try something new. Some human ships used their cargo holds to deploy clouds of reflective chaff that confused alien targeting systems. Others modified their engines to emit specific frequencies that interfered with alien communications. One particularly desperate human captain used his ship's life support system to create a localized electromagnetic pulse. Status report. 3 months had passed since the first battle at Haven Colony. In the Zephyrian research facility on their homeworld, scientist Cassandra stared at the wreckage spread across her laboratory tables. She was younger than most Zephyrian researchers, with the pale purple skin of her people, but eyes that held an unusual curiosity about other species. The wreckage came from human ships destroyed in the battle. What should have been simple debris was proving to be far more interesting than anyone had expected. "This makes no sense," Cassandra muttered to herself, examining a piece of human armor plating under her instruments. Her assistant, a junior researcher named Vexlar, looked up from his own analysis. "What have you found?" "Look at this human projectile," Cassandra said, holding up a twisted piece of metal. "It should be simple kinetic ammunition, crude and straightforward." "And?" "It's not simple at all. Look at the composition." She displayed her findings on a holographic screen. The outer shell is made of 3 different metals layered in a specific pattern. The core contains a small explosive charge, and there are tiny metal fragments embedded throughout. Vexlar studied the display. Why would they make it so complicated? Because they understood exactly what they were fighting. This projectile is designed to penetrate energy shields by using multiple attack methods at once. If the kinetic force doesn't work, the explosive might. If that fails, the metal fragments create electromagnetic interference. Cassandra moved to another table where pieces of human ship hull were laid out. "And look at this armor. It appears crude, but it's actually incredibly sophisticated." The armor plating looked rough and pitted compared to the smooth perfection of Zephyrian technology. But Cassandra's analysis revealed layer upon layer of different materials, each serving a specific purpose. They took our energy weapon specifications and designed armor specifically to counter them, she explained, but they also included protection against kinetic weapons, radiation, and electromagnetic pulses. They prepared for every possible attack. "How could they have our weapon specifications?" Vexlar asked. "That's what worries me," Cassandra replied. "They observed our weapons for perhaps a few hours during the battle. From that brief exposure, they somehow figured out how our technology works." She pulled up more data on her screens. "I've been analyzing the communication intercepts from the battle. Do you know what the humans were doing while we were fighting?" "Them? Fighting back?" "Yes, but also learning. Every human ship was recording everything they could detect about our weapons, our tactics, our technology. They were treating the battle as a research opportunity." Cassandra moved to her main analysis station. "I've been studying human development patterns based on the wreckage and data we captured. Look at this." The holographic display showed a timeline of human technological development over the past 200 years. The rate of advancement was staggering compared to Zephyrian or Elven progress. "They went from basic chemical rockets to faster-than-light travel in just 2 centuries, Cassandra said. "We took 2,000 years to make the same advancement." "But their technology is still primitive compared to ours," Vexlar pointed. "Out! Is it?" Cassandra challenged. "Or is it just different?" She displayed side-by-side comparisons of human and Zephyrian technology. Our energy shields are 98% efficient and can stop almost any known weapon, but they require perfect power regulation and fail completely if the frequency is disrupted. While human armor is only 60% efficient against most attacks, but it continues to provide some protection even when damaged. Their ships may be slower than ours, but they can keep fighting with half their systems destroyed. Vexillar looked confused. You sound like you admire their inferior technology. I'm beginning to think it's not inferior, Cassandra said quietly. It's optimized for different priorities. We build for perfection and efficiency. They build for adaptation and survival. Surely you don't suggest that crude technology is superior to our advanced systems? Before Cassandra could answer, an alarm sounded throughout the facility. Emergency lights flashed red, and automated voices announced a priority communication from the fleet. The main screen activated to show Commander Velnara's face. The Zephyrian military leader looked tired and frustrated. All research facilities are to immediately analyze any human technology for defensive applications, Velnara announced. We have encountered unexpected developments in the war. Cassandra activated her communication system. Commander, this is Research Station 7. What developments? The humans have modified their technology based on our first engagement. Their new weapons are significantly more effective against our ships. How is that possible? It's only been 3 months. I don't know how it's possible, Velnara replied grimly. But it's happening. We attacked 3 more human colonies last week. They were ready for us. Cassandra exchanged glances with Vexillar. Ready how? Their ships now carry weapons specifically designed to penetrate our shields. They've modified their armor to better resist our energy beams, and they're using tactics we've never seen before. What kind of tactics? They turn everything into a weapon. Mining equipment, cargo containers, even their emergency life pods. They fight like every battle is their last chance to survive. The communication ended, leaving Cassandra staring at the blank screen. She turned back to her analysis of human wreckage with new urgency. Meanwhile, in the Elven territories, Sylviana Starweaver stood in a medical facility, watching healers tend to injured Elven warriors. The young elf had been personally involved in the latest battles against human forces, and what she had seen troubled her deeply. An older elf approached her. Healer Mithrian had tended battlefield injuries for over 2 centuries, but his usually calm demeanor showed signs of strain. How are they? Sylviana asked, nodding toward the injured warriors. They will recover, Mithrian replied. But Sylviana, I must ask you something. What exactly are we fighting out there? Humans. Young, short-lived. Primitives according to the Council. These injuries tell a different story, Mithrian said, leading her to one of the medical beds. Look at these wounds. The injured elf had been struck by what appeared to be a simple human projectile, but the wound was far more complex than it should have been. The projectile fragmented inside the body, Mithrian explained, but not randomly. The fragments spread in a specific pattern designed to cause maximum damage while avoiding vital organs. They wanted to wound, not kill? Precisely. A dead enemy stops fighting. A wounded enemy requires medical attention, taking more soldiers out of combat. Sylviana felt a chill. They're thinking tactically even about individual shots. It gets worse, Mithrian continued. The fragments contain a substance that interferes with our healing magic. We can still heal the wounds, but it takes much longer and requires more energy. They moved to another bed where a warrior was being treated for burns from human energy weapons. Wait, Sylviana said. Energy weapons? Humans use kinetic projectiles. Not anymore, Mithrian replied. They've somehow developed energy weapons based on captured examples of our technology, but they've modified the design. How? Our energy weapons are precise and efficient. Theirs are crude but effective. They sacrifice accuracy for power and range, and they've designed them to operate on multiple frequencies, making them much harder to defend against. Sylviana stared at the injured warrior. How long did it take them to develop these weapons? Based on when we first encountered them in battle, perhaps 6 weeks. 6 weeks? It took us decades to perfect energy weapon technology. Yes, but we sought perfection. They settled for good enough, and then improved it through actual use. Sylviana left the medical facility with her mind racing. She made her way to the communications center and requested a priority channel to Elder Thaloran. The ancient elf appeared on the communication screen in his private study. His expression was grave. Sylviana, I assume you're calling about the war. Elder, Thaloran, your warnings about humanity, they're coming true, aren't they? I'm afraid so. What have you observed? Sylviana described the advanced human weapons, their tactical adaptations, and their apparent ability to reverse engineer alien technology within weeks. Thaloran listened silently, then nodded slowly. It's actually worse than I predicted. I thought they would adapt over years or decades. I never imagined they could change this quickly. What do? You could try to end the war before it escalates further, but I fear it may already be too late for that. Why? Because the humans are no longer just defending themselves. They're learning from every encounter. Each battle makes them stronger and more dangerous. The communication screen flickered, showing an urgent message incoming from the Zephyrian Empire. Thaloran accepted the transmission, and High Empress Zirathel appeared alongside Sylviana's image. Elder Thaloran, Zirathel said formally. I request your counsel. Of course, Empress, though I suspect I know why you're calling. The humans have become unexpectedly capable. My scientists report that they have somehow improved their technology beyond what should be possible in such a short time. They are doing exactly what I warned you they would do, Thaloran replied. They are adapting. Zirathel's expression showed frustration and something that might have been fear. 1 year after the first attack on Haven Colony, the largest alien armada in galactic history approached Earth. High Empress Zirathel commanded from her flagship, surrounded by 300 Zephyrian vessels. Elindra Moon Whisper led 200, elven ships in perfect formation beside them. This was meant to be the final battle of a war that had gone on far too long. Status report, Zirathel commanded. Commander Velnara studied her instruments with growing concern. Long-range sensors detect human ships throughout the solar system, Empress. Far more than intelligence suggested. How many more? At least 3 times our estimates, and they're using technology we haven't seen before. Zirathel frowned at the tactical display. The humans had turned their entire solar system into a fortress. Ships patrolled between the planets. Weapons platforms floated in the asteroid belt. Even the moon around Earth bristled with defensive installations. It doesn't matter, she said finally. We have brought our most powerful fleet. Whatever improvements they have made, they cannot match 500 ships with advanced technology. On the bridge of the human flagship Defiance, Commander Kate Sullivan watched the approaching alien fleet with calm determination. Beside her stood Captain Lisa Morgan, who had survived the battle at Haven and been promoted to lead humanity's diplomatic corps. Dr. Amy Carter worked at a science station, coordinating the technical aspects of Earth's defense. Amy, status on. Our new weapon systems? Kate asked. All systems are operational, Commander. The improvements we've made based on captured alien technology are performing within expected parameters. And our allies? Amy smiled slightly. Standing by and ready to assist. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez looked up from her communications station. Commander, I'm receiving a transmission from the alien fleet. They're demanding our immediate surrender. Put it on screen, Kate ordered. High Empress Zirathel appeared on the main viewing screen, her expression cold and imperial. Humans of Earth, you have defied the established order of this galaxy for the last time. Surrender immediately or we will destroy your homeworld. Kate stepped forward to respond. Empress Zirathel, we have tried to negotiate with you for over a year. You have refused every attempt at peaceful resolution. If you want a fight, you'll get one. You cannot possibly hope to defeat this fleet, Zirathel replied. We have 500 ships with weapons that could destroy planets. You're right, Kate admitted. We can't defeat you with brute force, but we've learned a few things about fighting superior enemies. The transmission ended, and Kate turned to her crew. All ships begin Phase 1. Throughout the solar system, human ships began moving. But instead of forming traditional battle lines, they scattered in seemingly random directions. Some headed toward the alien fleet, others moved away from Earth entirely. A few seemed to disappear behind planets and moons. What are they doing? Velnara asked. watching the chaotic human movements. "I don't know," Zirathel replied, "but we won't be distracted by primitive tactics. All ships advance on Earth. Destroy any human vessels that interfere." The alien fleet moved forward in perfect formation. Their energy weapons began firing at maximum range, targeting the nearest human ships. Several hits connected, and human vessels exploded in brilliant flashes. But something was wrong. The human ships that were destroyed seemed to explode with far more force than they should have. And instead of debris, the explosions created expanding clouds of metallic particles that interfered with alien sensors. "Sensors are being disrupted," Velnara reported. "The human ships are using some kind of advanced chaff." "Compensate and continue the advance," Zirathel ordered. But as the alien fleet pushed deeper into the solar system, they encountered more surprises. Human ships that had seemed to retreat earlier suddenly appeared behind them, emerging from behind asteroids and planetary bodies. These ships carried weapons unlike anything seen in previous battles. "Empress," Velnara said urgently, "the human weapons are penetrating our shields more effectively than before." "How is that possible?" "They appear to be using modified versions of our own energy weapons, but they've changed the frequency patterns to match our shield harmonics exactly." On Elindra's ship, Sylviana Starweaver watched the battle with growing amazement. The humans were fighting with technology that looked suspiciously familiar. "Diplomat Elindra," she said, "are those human ships using our magic-enhanced weapons?" Elindra studied the tactical display. "Impossible. Humans cannot use magic." "Then how are they generating energy patterns identical to our magical technological interface?" Before Elindra could answer, her ship shook under the impact of human weapons. The attack had come from a direction that should have been empty space. "Cloaked ships," Sylviana realized. "They've developed invisibility technology." "How?" Elindra demanded. "By studying our magical concealment spells and reproducing them through scientific methods." In her laboratory aboard the human research vessel Discovery, Dr. Amy Carter coordinated the technical aspects of Earth's defense. Around her, teams of scientists monitored captured alien technology that had been reverse-engineered and improved. "Amy," came Kate's voice over the communication system, "how are our new toys performing?" "Better than expected," Amy replied. "The Zephyrian energy weapons we captured work much more efficiently when we removed their safety limitations. And we've figured out how to replicate elven magical effects using quantum field manipulation." "Any problems?" "The alien weapons are more powerful than ours, but they're also more predictable. They rely on perfection and precision. Our modified versions sacrifice some efficiency for adaptability." "Good. Initiate Phase 2. Phase 2 was Amy's masterpiece. Using captured alien technology as a foundation, human engineers had built something entirely new. Hybrid weapons that combine the best aspects of both alien civilizations. Energy beams enhanced with quantum effects targeted Zephyrian ships, while kinetic projectiles guided by modified magical algorithms struck elven vessels. The aliens found themselves facing weapons that used their own technologies against them, but in ways they had never imagined. "Damage report," Zirathel demanded as her flagship shook under human fire. 17 ships disabled, 4 destroyed, Velnara replied. "Empress, they're using our own weapons against us." "Impossible. They lack the knowledge to operate Zephyrian technology." "Apparently not anymore." Across the battlefield, Sylviana Starweaver made a decision that would change everything. She opened a private communication channel to the human fleet. "Human ships, this is Sylviana Starweaver of the Elven Confederation. I request permission to speak with your commanders." Maya Rodriguez looked up in surprise. "Commander Sullivan, we're receiving a communication from one of the Elven ships. She says she wants to talk." "Put her through," Kate ordered. Sylviana's image appeared on the screen. "Commander Sullivan, I have been watching this war for over a year. I believe it is time to end it." "I'm listening," Kate replied. "My people were wrong about humanity. We saw you as children who needed guidance. But you have proven that you are our equals, perhaps our superiors in some ways. What are you proposing?" "I can provide you with tactical information about the fleet dispositions. In return, I ask that you spare the crews who surrender." Kate considered this. "Why should we trust you?" "Because I have seen what happens when Civilizations underestimate humanity, and I don't want my people to be destroyed by their own arrogance. On the Zephyrian research ship, scientist Cassandra was making her own decision. She had spent months studying human technology and had reached a startling conclusion. Humans were not just adapting alien technology, they were improving it. She opened her own communication channel to the human fleet. Human vessels, this is scientist Cassandra of the Zephyrian Empire. I wish to discuss terms of cooperation. Amy Carter received the communication and forwarded it to Kate. Commander, we have another alien officer requesting to talk. 2 defections in 1 battle, Lisa Morgan observed. That's not a good sign for alien morale. Cassandra appeared on the screen beside Sylviana. Commander Sullivan, I have analyzed your technology extensively. You have achieved something remarkable. You have taken our advanced systems and made them more effective. How? So? Kate asked. You removed the limitations that we built into our technology. We designed our weapons to be precise and controlled. You made them adaptable and powerful. We built our ships to be perfect. You built yours to survive. What do you want? To join you, Cassandra said simply. I have seen the future of galactic civilization, and it belongs to species that can adapt and grow, not to those who cling to ancient perfection. The battle continued around them, but something had fundamentally changed. With tactical information from Sylviana and technical assistance from Cassandra, the human fleet began to gain the upper hand. But the real turning point came when Kate initiated Phase 3. Throughout the solar system, human installations that had seemed purely defensive suddenly revealed their true purpose. The moon itself began to move, its orbit altered by massive engines hidden beneath the surface. Weapons platforms in the asteroid belt coordinated to create a gravitational focusing array that turned Earth's moon into the largest kinetic weapon ever conceived. They've weaponized their moon, Velnara said in disbelief. That's impossible.